It's an honor to be here today. I want to thank you for joining, and also I want to thank Chukwuki who has given us the opportunity to be here this morning to discuss. I am happy that you are alive. We are given another opportunity so that we could do the services of which we have been called to do here on earth. I know you know what you have been called to do. We all should know what we are called to do. At the same time, whatever we are doing that does not contest with the supports and help of other people or does not impact other people definitely is not what you are called to do. Whatever you're doing every day should be impactful and beneficial to humanity. I want to welcome you in this light. And today is Monday, the 22nd day of January 2024. The month is running very, very fast, just speeding, just speeding. But anyways, we thank God we are part of those who are part of the speed, and we are going to get things speedily done and achieve as much as we can as God has given to us. Thank you for joining. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. This is BIAFRA Global Network. And please, as you join in, like this video, share on all your social media platforms so that people can join in and people can be part of this great lesson that we are going to be, looking at and treating today. And I also want you to also subscribe to this channel, please, if you have not. It is important because we must disseminate truth in every platform all over the world. We need to reach out to people, and as much as you subscribe, you are helping the channel to go far so that we can reach out to people. We are looking at something very critical this morning, very, very, very critical. But before I go into it, as usual, as I always do, I want to caution you, please don't get yourself manipulated, don't get yourself deceived by those who tell you that they want to carry out sacrifice in Biafra land. They want to cleanse the land. I want to tell you that is fraud, huge fraud. They are seeking to take money from you because they know that anything that is religious attracts you. So they would keep telling you about it and keep pushing you to it. They use every activity happening in Biafra land as a means of manipulating you to believe that, yes, this cleansing is needed. All over the world, nations are fighting for themselves, sustaining their heritage, their culture, their values, their land, and fighting. Nobody is asking anybody to bring money for cleansing. Biafra land will not be the different and be a different be different. Biafra land will not be different. So all those things are manipulations because they know we are very religious. We are very religious. So please don't get yourself manipulated. And also, all these referendum and all this stuff they tell you, I don't know. Please, you guys should wake up. Somebody comes to tell you now that they want to do, electronic referendum. United Nations is not aware. ECOWAS, no nation of the world has endorsed it. Nobody has talked about it. No nation of the world has given their endorsement and support. If you look at other nations of the world, even nations that claim that United Nations claim they have not endorsed, there will be one or two nations that would say, okay, we endorse. Now, Biafra is seeking for freedom. United Nations has not. You are talking about referendum. Who is going to supervise a referendum? How do you call a referendum credible when you are the one conducting it and you are the one supervising it? It doesn't make sense. Don't let yourself to be deceived. These are things to keep you busy on social media. They want to keep you busy because they know they don't have anything else to say. They want to keep you busy. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. There's nothing like referendum. Referendum is conducted and it has principles and processes how it is conducted. It is not just something that is done, just because somebody says we are going to conduct a referendum, and then you come on social media, you post some stuff, and then as you post those stuff, you now use them as a means of deceiving the people and manipulating the people because there's nothing else to say. What else are they going to say? What other activity do they need? They need something to keep you busy. Always keep you busy. Always keep you busy. Always keep you busy. And that's what they want to do. They'll keep you busy. And that's what they want to do. So please, you have to get yourself knowledgeable and don't get yourself manipulated by all these guys. There's nothing like a referendum. Referendum has to do with if you want to do real referendum, true referendum, not the ones. How many times have we done social media referendum? We have done it several times. So many people will take statistics and say, who are those who want to get a new nation, who want to be free? And we take statistics. That has always been the way, always. So don't get yourself deceived by all these kinds of things. They know you are gullible, so they always move you to the wall and deceive you. And that is what I want to let you know this morning. There is somebody who came to me yesterday. On Saturday. Remember during the broadcast, Elvis, Biafra dot nation or something. There's some things that piss me. They are very pissing. And he came on when I was broadcasting, and he asked me a question. He said, "Why am I doing this?" And I began to wonder, what do you mean by why are you doing this? And he said, "I'm against Simon." And he said that that he wants to engage me in a debate. Some of you who were there on Saturday noticed that Saturday evening when I was broadcasting. He said he wants to engage me on the debate, and I smiled. I said, "Yes, I need that debate. I've been asking for the debate, but since he wants to do that, I would use that to send a signal and make a point to his principal, Simon, and all their agents. I wanted to use him as since I have tried to get Simon for a debate, but he's running. He cannot face it. He knows that one quite all right, and he would want to use pride and arrogance to keep himself in that level. But anyways, the Elvis came and said he wants to engage me, and you remember he was given the time, and he talked about 4 p.m. Biafra time. I said no, let's make it 5 or 6, and he chose 6 p.m. Biafra time. I agreed to that debate, and past 5 Biafra time that Saturday, suddenly he sent me a message on my email, and he was saying that due to their referendum stuff and all of that, he has decided to cancel that stuff. But I shouldn't come on social media to start talking or insulting him and all of that, and that he respected me and all of that, and he's not. I shouldn't come on social media. And I began to ask him, and I sent him back a message. I said, "Who are you to give me an instruction or give me instructions on how to operate? And who told you? Who are you to tell me what to say online and what not to say online? You don't dictate what I say." I know that he's a key person, whether that person is Simon or a key person. He's running away. You cannot face a debate. Why are you coming to tell me about a debate and then you come in box to cancel it and you say I shouldn't tell the people? Then how would the people know that you actually were the one who canceled the debate? He canceled it. He ran away. He doesn't have anything to offer. Kept telling me about he wants to instruct people on how to go on an electronic referendum. Does it make sense to you? What do you want to instruct? What do you want to teach people about social media, electronic and stuff? If that person is not Simon, what else does he want to do? Just being busy doing nothing. You called for a debate and you ran away, and you are instructing me not to talk about the referendum convention, or the referendum stuff you want to do and all of that, not to talk about it again. Who are you to tell me what to broadcast and not to broadcast? All these insane mad people everywhere coming to direct people on what to do. That's why they are criminals. Because they are criminals, they always want to do things. They want to do it shady. They want to do shit. Don't come out they will send private messages. Stop talking about this. This, that. They stop talking about this. And all they do is once you don't concur, when they know your location, they send people to come and kill you. That's what they do. Idiots everywhere. Anyways, so he canceled the debate, and he ran away. So that's what I have to tell you people, to let people know that he ran away. So for that stuff not holding Saturday evening, 6 p.m. as we talked about, was. So now I'm going to be going at the broadcast of today. I am going to be speaking for just about 20 minutes. I have lots of things today. Of course, today is Monday, so we have to, and I know you are busy too. I'm very like this to talk about, because sometimes we are a people who are too careless to sensitive matters. The reason why I said so is some of you know when it comes to the tussle, this tribal differences, supremacy, for it's into us. It is into us as a people. And what has made it worse is that because we have been brought under a contraption called Nigeria, jumbled by the British Empire, kept together, people of different cultures, traditions, operations, way of behavior, way of thinking, way of reasoning. We have been jumbled by the British Empire. It has affected us so much that it has worsened these tribal differences and tussle within us. Now, have you noticed recently on social media, especially on Twitter and other parts of social media, not just Twitter anyways, but majorly I notice it more on Twitter, that there's been this cold war between the Yorubas and the Igbos. Have you noticed this? Have you noticed that since Tinubu was elected, it has worsened? Now, have you noticed the trend of events recently and how it is building? And it has formed a major cluster of facts and features that are very dangerous to the existence of these tribes. Now, there's nothing strange about nations or tribes having issues. We have it everywhere, all over the nations of the world, where you find different nations, having issues. You have the people of Pakistan who broke out of India. They always have issues. You have Slovakia and the other one. How I've forgotten the name of the other one. Anyways, formerly they were Czechoslovakia, so they divided and all of that. You have all this kind of skirmishes and all this kind of quarrels and all of that. The difference between those quarrels between people like nations like you have Pakistan and India. The difference here is these people are actually having common religion. Common culture and value. They have common culture and values. These same people have the same, almost similar, because they actually came from a source. But because one part tilted towards a particular religion, the other part tilted towards another religion, it became like like as if it is a tussle, a very huge fight amongst them. So, but now the difference here is these ones are almost having the same culture and tradition, but when it comes to Igbos, Yorubas, and others, they have clearly different, very different cultures and traditions. Now, here is the danger. Even in the midst of people who have similar culture and tradition, when there are issues and all of that, it still goes very tense, and it still takes a turn of danger. In fact, it costs lives. People are killed. Sometimes it emanates into war and all of that. Now, check it out if this happens amongst people who are of the same culture. You can check it out when it has to do with people with different cultures and traditions, and then now jumbled in a nation. Now, which means that aside the differences we have, we are also struggling for something that is critical and key to the survival of nations. That, for instance, let me give you this instance. Every nation believes in its pride, has its pride, its sovereignty and all of that. Every nation wants to operate on that level, wants to be identified, wants to be recognized, wants to be seen as having their own will and their own power, their own constitution and all of that, to do what they have to do in their own way, the way they plan it to do it and all of that. Now, you can imagine that a nation that is having such kind of expectation joins with another nation having such kind of expectation, and they are both put together to form a nation. When this one is seeking to have control of itself, have control of its territory, have control of its governance, have control of everything that has to do with it, its people, its constitution, its culture, its traditions, and everything. The other one to seek to have such kind of control, and the two of them are brought before a particular to fight, to seek for that supremacy and control over the other. Now, the current trend of events, if you noticed, has gone very dangerous. Now, why did I say so? There is now a link to a very sensitive aspect of their existence. What do I mean? Ojukwu and brought into the scene. Remember, Ojukwu signifies freedom, signifies war, fight for freedom, and all of that. Ojukwu was significant to this because everything he stood for was to make sure that the people have control and have their territorial dominance and sovereignty and all of that. Now also, Awolowo also was fighting for that. Now, these people now who are having these differences and saying so many things on social media are now pointing, using these people as references to insulting each tribe or talking down on each tribe or attacking each tribe. Now, don't you see that using people who are very sensitive and who are very, very key to a particular history of a people as an allusion, yes, or an allegory to what is happening right now is critical because it gives a perspective to the mindset of the people and what they have in mind and how they are thinking. You can imagine the Yorubas now talking about Ojukwu and painting him in the light of a rebel, a weakling, and making him look like he is someone who belongs to no class and makes no sense to the history of the people or the Igbo people. And the Igbos also pointing at Awolowo also and making references in that light as those people also are doing to Ojukwu and all of that. Now you can imagine the dangerous twist to this whole thing. The danger here is that using such kinds of people as a reference to having this Cold War and argument means that you have gotten to a point in the climax where anything can trigger a massive slaughter and massive mayors. That means it has gotten to the point where the hatred is obviously seen. You can see the hatred. This time around, you can just feel it. You can see it. You can smell it. The danger now is these two nations are not having sovereignty on their own. The Yorubas are not having their own sovereignty. Igbos are not having their sovereignty. So even the frustration of not having their sovereignty connected to this tussle and this internal wrangling worsens the whole thing and can create a particular, if not managed very properly, can create a dangerous twist that can cause genocide between the nations. Most of us are seeing it as normal. Every time you see the Igbos they are fighting the Yorubas, you're having issues and all of that. People just see it as normal. But if you are sensitive, you will look deeper into the narrative because the narrative itself gives you an idea. You don't, you and I are, let me give you this instance. You and I are having issues. We are talking, we are abusing ourselves and talking. When I get to the level where I now begin to get your mother, your parents, to insult your parents, and you insult my parents, it has gotten to the level where it can be very dangerous because now you are stepping on the sensitive aspect. You can imagine me having issues with you, and then I now call your mom a prostitute. And I'll call your mom a prostitute and call your dad a ne'er-do-well, someone who is useless, a drunkard, and someone who is so useless that he married a prostitute. Now, can you imagine? We're just having issues. I'm abusing you. You're stupid. You're an idiot, and all of that. You're already angry and tense because of what things I'm saying, and also I'm angry about the things you're saying about me. And then suddenly I'm going to talk about your father and your mother, and call them what the names I can call them, as much as to provoke you. Now that can trigger a fight that can lead to, something else. Even if we didn't intend fighting when we were talking, this particular narrative of going so intense about your father and your mother and my father and my mother can cause us to now go into a bloody fight that can lead to something else. That is what is happening right now. Yoruba saying that, Yoruba say you have more, Yoruba saying, Igbos, you have more corrupt you have more criminals, you have more 419, you have more this. It's a normal talk that have been there all these years. Igbo saying Yorubas, you are number one criminals in the world. Go to international prisons, you see most of you there, criminals, people like Hush Poppy and all those people and all of that. Saying all of this stuff is normal. It has been there for a long time, and maybe we have gotten used to it because we know that yes, we are just this tribe wants to be more superior, than the other. But now it has gotten to a point where we are looking at the fathers, those who carried out significant programs on behalf of these nations, and now we are now pointing them out. And now, not only are we pointing them out, we are still frustrated that we are stuck in a relationship that was created by the British Empire, not created by our parents. We didn't agree to have this relationship. It's just like a man and a woman who, a pastor just came and said, a pastor says to them, go and marry. And the man really doesn't love this lady, and the lady don't really see anything catchy about this man or having any feeling for this man. But because one man manipulated them, one pastor manipulated them, and then they felt that because he's the pastor, they have to marry. And then they marry. They now begin to see that they are not compatible. They are sensing it. They are feeling it. They are knowing that they are not compatible. And then they now begin to, come to the point where it is now affecting the way they operate, the way they behave, their sexual life, everything about them, their relationship, their finance, everything. The man 2 days and all of that, and come back later, and the hatred was building. I mean, it's building, and then one day they now have an issue. They now leave that place. Just like what you're talking, are attached to religion, in spite of the fact that they have left the church where the pastor told them to get married because they had issues with along the line. They just felt that they are just because of the right of this church and this ministry. They decide to now leave. They decide now to leave that church and now to go, because naturally, based on the fact that they grew up in a religious manner, their parents were religious. They still are stuck mentally, by they are still somehow affiliated and all of that, somehow stuck the dictates and the doctrines of the religious houses. But yet this wrangling in fueling until one day the man now, it now gets to a point where the woman now brings a man into the house. There's the man and brings a man into the house, and they are in the bedroom and thinking the man will not return, and the man now returns. What do you think is going to happen? Is the hatred has been building intense, but their religious background have been holding them. But this time around, it has gone to the extreme. And let me tell you something. Once someone's attitude or someone's way of life is being restricted based on what they believe, and now they begin to get frustrated, but they can't leave that belief. They just have to keep on to that belief. But they begin to get frustrated based on the fact that the feedbacks and the activities or the things that happen to them is as much as they can't control based on the fact that they believe something or based on what they believe. Now, what they believe is already frustrating them because they can't change it, because this is what they believe. They believe that they are going through this because they believe this. If they didn't believe in this, they would have done it the other way around. But because they believe in this, just like somebody who says, I believe in God. And because you believe in God, you don't want to actually steal, And then, but you are hungry. You keep getting hungry and you keep getting frustrated. Nobody wants to give you anything, and something just happening. But because you believe that thou shalt not steal, you are bound by that, and it keeps ringing in your head. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not steal. Now, one day you get so hungry, and your children are now dying. One of your children dies of hunger, and all of that. And then you now get so mentally destabilized that your emotion takes over. Once that happens, you will discover that what you are going to do next might be very destructive. Do you know why? The restriction you had based on that religious belief or that thing that had been controlling you was the check to your emotion. But once your emotion breaks out of it and your senses now disconnect from your emotion, you now do something very terrible. That have you ever wondered have you ever wondered somebody, taking a knife or picking up something and stabbing the wife or stabbing the husband, or boiling hot water and pouring on the wife or pouring on the husband just because of something? It didn't begin with what happened at that point in time. It was a reoccurring issue, a situation that was not handled well, no therapeutic procedure to handle it well, no advice, nothing. It was getting worse, eating up the emotion and disconnecting the senses from the emotion until it got to the point where there was a total breakdown. And then the man does it or the woman does it, and then they now say, they didn't know it was the devil. No, it wasn't the devil. It wasn't the devil. It was a situation that had been there, but was not controlled over time. The Igbos and the Yorubas are having similar situation as what I've analyzed. The Igbos have been having this grievance based on the past, the role the Yorubas played in the genocidal war against in 1967. There have been this rancor. Don't forget that even before Britain to the land, there had been this, territorial. This normally in anyways, you always have issues with your neighbors, neighbors. But it stays at that point of being neighbors. At least you know that he's your neighbor. He has his own business, I have my own business. That was what it had been before the colonial masters came. Now, when the colonial masters came, they now decided to bring the neighbor out of his house and bring the other neighbor out of his house and bring them together and put in one flat. This neighbor is living in one room. The other neighbor is living in one room. They now demolish their building and now bring all of them and put in one flat. Say they should be living together. It wasn't the whole thing. These two people have been having issues, even staying in different rooms. Now they are now staying together. What will happen? You have now created more problem, and that had been the tension between the Yorubas and the Yorubas and Igbos after the war, especially after the war. After the whole activity of 1966, the whole activity of the coup, and all of that, and there was a misrepresentation of information and all of that, and then this whole thing began to build. The hatred was building when Awolowo now came, and now this $20 thing, £20 thing, there was this tension building. And now it has come to a point where now we are now looking at those people who are key and significant to each nation, like Ojukwu, like Awolowo, like different people, and now they are now pointing hands on the fathers. That tells you that is just a simple way of understanding. That's a very simple way to understand that this thing have gone to the point where anything can trigger a major violence and a major internal destruction, implosion, because we are still living in the same house called Nigeria. We have been taken away from our houses, brought into one house, Nigeria, and now we are now looking into our faces. The fight we've been having when we are living differently have been there. Now we are now in the same house. Now this time around, we are looking into our faces. Our children looking into their faces. Our wives looking into their faces, and everyone looking into the face of the other, and putting the hand into the eyes of the person, the next person. And that is why you should understand that this is a cold war that should not be ignored. You should understand that the earlier we separate, the better for us. The earlier, because we can still resolve things and have a way of us if we know that we have our family apart from the other family. That's their business, that's business. Well, he insulted me, that's his business. Anyways, even if we have to go into any argument or fight, we fight and then we go back to our houses. But when you live in the same house, it's going to be deadlier. And when I talk about the same house, I'm talking about Nigeria. This is the situation, right? Check it out on social media, what is happening. The Yorubas are saying so many things about the fathers of the Igbo nation. The Igbos are saying so many things about the fathers of the Yoruba nation, or the father of the Yoruba nation, one of the fathers, anyways, one of the fathers. We call them one of the fathers. They are not just the fathers, one of the fathers. Now, it is now a serious and key matter that has to be treated. And except we begin to bring to consciousness that this is a time bomb, except we begin to tell ourselves that we are in a very terrible situation, and we begin to look at it critically and reason along this line I'm bringing up to us now, we might be so careless to the point until one day something will just happen and it will become very bloody. What you see, when you see or hear of bloody wars and all of this stuff, it doesn't just start. People say Ukraine and Russia is fighting. It doesn't just start. It didn't just start like that. Russia and Ukraine stuff didn't just start. And let me tell you, these people have similar culture. They are somehow brothers. The Yorubas and Igbos are very different in culture, in tradition, in behavior, in social life, and everything. Very different. But of course, we've been having this, connection, togetherness, working together, and all of that, learning to understand one another. But now we have come to learn one another and understand one another to the point that we now focus on the weaknesses of each other or one another. We no more look without the strength. What is the weakness of the Yoruba man? What is the weakness of the Igbo man? What is the strength of the Yoruba man? What is the strength of the Igbo man now? How do we complement it? How do we focus on the strength of each person or each nation and then build on that? No, the reason why we cannot do that is because we see each person's strength as a threat, because we're in the same house called Nigeria. And once you are in the same house, you see the other one as threat. That is it. But if we were living differently, then Yoruba nation has its own nation, and then the Igbo nation has its own nation. Even the strength of each other will now even become competition. This person is strong in this, so let me do something better to out. But this time around, when you're in the same house, this one wants to outshine me. Let me kill him so that I can take over the house. That's what you'll be thinking. That's what you'll be thinking. Now, Tinubu has come into it. It's like Tinubu now, a Yoruba man is put over as the head of the house. The Igbo man is in the house. The Hausa man is in the house. The Jugu man is in the house. The Shekiri man is in the house. The Ijaw man is in the house. The Ibibio man. Different kinds of people are in the house. And then after everything, the other ones are feeling that they have not been made head. Then now one Yoruba man is put as head after they have been head before, and all of that. It's now rotating between two kinds of people, the Hausas or the Fulanis and the Yorubas. What would happen? Now it is now beginning to tell on the frustration. It's now telling by the evidence of frustration how they abuse themselves, how they insult themselves. Now they are no more insulting themselves. They are now insulting their fathers, insulting their heroes, and all of that. This is a sign of a major breakdown that can trigger anything at any point in time. We all must understand this. The earlier we understand this, the better for us. That is why it is important that you should no more allow yourself to be manipulated by all these people who tell you we are fighting for freedom, we are doing this. Don't let yourself, this is serious business. We now have to do the right thing. We now have to do the right thing. We now have to do the right thing. And the right thing is to see that we take seriously the fight for our freedom. When we say fight for freedom, doesn't mean we start fighting. No, that's not what it means. Fight for freedom means the struggle, the pain, the activities you have to carry out to see that you're free. I must fight a good fight. A good fight is a fight. It's just like you're going for your businesses, trying to take care of your children. You are fighting a good fight. We must be very strategic in how we're going to free the nations trapped in this house called Nigeria. Because the Nigeria house is a dangerous structure, keeping all of us together when we have this deep-seated hatred that has been built over time, being in the same house. Being in the same house. The Fulanis in the same house, strangers, they are in the same house with the Yorubas, Hausas and Igbos and everybody. They have raped the children of the Igbos, the Yorubas. They have raped the wives of the Igbos and the Yorubas and other tribes. They have raped the children also of other tribes, not just Igbos and Yorubas, and other tribes in the Nigeria, in that house called Nigeria. They have killed some of the men in the house. in the same building. What do you think is going to happen? And the people keeping us in this building are people who don't care. They even use whether they're dying on very, very dangerous. You don't know what is happening. You don't know the danger. Please, I want you to reason this out. This is a very, very sensitive matter, and we must take it very seriously. And this in the light of what we're looking at right now, and take this very, very seriously. I'm still going to delve into this because it's already 5 minutes. I didn't want to go that far, use 20 minutes, but I've used more than 20 minutes. I'm going to still do this in the evening. I'm going to talk more about this matter. Hopefully, by God's grace, in the evening, I'm going to talk more about this matter. I just want you to enjoy your day long here. You know, Yoruba and Hausa. Yoruba and for us to understand some basic things that we need to do and what we need to do about the whole situation and the things we need to realize, and those sponsoring this particular situation narrative, so that it can be very deadly against the people and at the same time cause the people to be set aback on what they are doing. It's very, very important. Very important. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Enjoy your day. For those of you who are in the afternoon or you're already in the evening or you are still sleeping, enjoy the morning when you wake up. And I want to appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much for being there. And please share this broadcast on all your social media platforms. And please subscribe to this channel if you have not. Like this video and also click the notification button so that whenever we come up, you can see it and also be part of it. Thank you so much and God bless you. Very good.